In this world of technology, things are ever changing, rearranging. You need someone to help you out. I know someone who can. Come and take a journey with me as we go through the land of technology. You'll never be alone. You'll be with Paul Amadeus Lane in the Tech Zone.
Welcome back to the Tech Zone, our third and final segment of the show. Thank you so much for joining me. First two segments, we talked about this coronavirus and how technology is helping us to continue to shop, to socialize, keep in contact with the ones that we love. And second segment, we talked about how parents, please pump the brakes when it comes to these play dates with other people until this COVID-19 kind of dies down, and how video gaming can help out when it comes to social isolation and having kids and also adults be able to interact with ones out there. And that takes us to our third segment. As you know, around this time, if you've been following me for years, this is the busiest time of year for me. Why? Well, I normally cover Expo West in Anaheim, CSUN in Anaheim, GDC in San Francisco, then E3 in June, WonderCon in April. Just a lot of events that I cover around this time, but they've been canceled. Why? Because of COVID-19. And to be honest, I wasn't going to go anyway, because of the scare, whether they canceled it or not, because, I'm not going to put my life at risk. I'm just not. I'm going to play it safe. I've been there, done that. But one conference or event I was looking forward to was GDC. As you know, some of you may not, I am a accessibility consultant. I work with the video gaming industry and other tech industries out there to make technology or their devices work better for ones who are disabled or physically challenged. And I love chatting with ones who are in the same field I am. And my next guest, I was looking forward to seeing him at GDC and also other events. So without any further delay, let's bring him on. I'm so happy to have with me right now Sir Ian. What's going on, my friend? How are you?
Hey, man, I'm good.
Great to have you.
Sad about GDC, but apart from that, all good.
I know, man. We were supposed to see each other in person at CSUN, at GDC, and things didn't work out for us. But I'm glad we can do so with technology and also Skype and everything, and we can chat it up, my friend. So I enjoy the article that you're in, you and Josh and Cherry, with the Washington Post. And
yep.
And Ian, it was some really good things that you guys talked about in that article. And what was one thing that you guys really wanted to get across when it comes to the life of an accessibility gaming consultant? Because I'm just new in the game of doing it, but you guys have been in for a long time, Ian. So talk about what you really wanted to get across to the readers out there.
Piece. He did all the questioning and stuff for it. But I guess when I'm talking about the work, the kind of thing I normally try and get across to people is just kind of the bigger picture of stuff. That it may seem like just the day-to-day can be a bit of a painful grind, but if you take a step back and look at kind of where things were 5 years ago, 10 years ago, even 2 years ago, the speed at which stuff is changing at it's a lot more positive than it can appear in the day-to-day grind,
I hear you, my friend, and what you guys have been able to do over the years has inspired us gamers who are disabled. And the one thing I really like about accessibility in gaming and everything that's out there, Ian, is not old-time gamers like myself and Josh and Cherry, but what the hope it brings to the newer gamers out there, the newer ones who may not have thought about gaming because of their disability or mobility issues. The fact that these barriers are now being brought down by minds like yourself to make gaming inclusive and accessible for all. And talk about just the gratification that you get as you see people who are able to experience things that we love to do.
Yeah, well, that's what it's about. Accessibility is important. Is the reason why accessibility is important is because games are important, right? That's it. That's exactly what keeps me going day to day. Is just all the people I know, the reactions that I see from gamers able to take part and stuff, but the reaction from developers as well. Seeing people who are discovering these new audiences, getting amazing feedback from gamers on features that were actually. I'll give you a good example of that. The Outer Worlds. The Outer Worlds, when it launched, had really, really tiny text, and a developer there put a tweet out the other day demoing scalable text for the game. So you've got a slider, you can just drag it up and down, and all the text and all the game scales accordingly. And it took him 3 months to develop that feature. He said basically like the actual just putting the slider in to change the text size, that was like day one, and then the rest of the 3 months was battling against all the various things that broke all the way through the game. So it was a long old slog for him, and then like seeing him like just all the hundreds of such happy reactions from players that he got from that. So that's kind of the other side to it. It's not just about the benefit to the gamers, but to the benefit to developers as well.
Absolutely, and you bring up a very good point because we kind of talked about this when we first started our chat. Was about GDC, how it was canceled because of the fears of the coronavirus, and talk about how that's going to impact the dialogue that we have at GDC, because we know GDC is where the developers show up, or we're able to talk to the developers, share with them, and find out what's going on in accessibility in gaming, and it's kind of like a missed opportunity because of GDC being canceled. So what can we do, Ian, to
it's rough because there are companies who were doing some good stuff, like Microsoft moving all of their sessions online, which is awesome. But that's only really a small part of what GDC is about. It's like exactly like you said about the conversations, and that's what a lot of the value from GDC comes from. It isn't what happens on the show floor, isn't what happens inside the talks. It's just the conversations you have, bumping into someone in the corridor, someone you sat next to at lunch. There's so many developers in town. There's like 30,000 odd people. That's just the people who buy tickets, let alone the people who are in town for it anyway as well. That anywhere you go, you're surrounded by people, and just to have conversations, and not just having conversations as well, but the introductions you get, because you often, you'll bump into someone that they'll be with 6 other people you don't know. They're heading off to a bar, you get chatting to the other people, and this how this stuff spreads. Some of the best relationships I've had in accessibility have been just from those kind of like casual conversations from people you bump into at GDC specifically. So even with like talks and stuff going online, and even actually GDC themselves have been really good about this. They said basically if anyone wants to record their talk that they were going to do, send it into GDC, and they will actually just put it up for free on the YouTube channel, which is really cool. But that's only part of it. Is a big shame that all those one-to-one conversations aren't going to be happening. But I guess that's what social media is there for.
Yeah, and
it's not an exact substitute, but there's still ways for people to reach out and have those conversations.
And that's true, and that's one thing I love about your Twitter. You keep us abreast of a lot of things of what's going on when it comes to accessibility and gaming, and we really appreciate that. And you touched on something that I was able to take part of with you and the crew last year. We were at CSUN here in Anaheim, where we were able to meet up, go have a lunch together, and I met some really incredible people that I didn't know, but because you and I knew each other, that introduced me to a world of other guys out there who are in the fight, and ladies who are in the fight, and we are still in communication today. So just that dialogue and that camaraderie that we can have when it comes to this very important subject. We can really move mountains in those casual settings and those casual talks, that we have at lunch and at a pub and our drinking and everything. And Ian, when we see where we're at today, from where we were last year, what encourages you the most when it comes to this accessibility in gaming? What encouraged you the most?
Encouraged me the most, I think, just the general acceptance across the whole development community that accessibility is just kind of a part of day-to-day practice now. There's still a lot of work to be done on getting all the details fleshed out, getting all the workflow and process and that kind of stuff done. But it's now the point where it's not really feasible for a AAA game to launch without considerable effort put into accessibility, which is a very, very different situation to how things were even 2-3 years ago. So it's been exciting to see that, and I think a really nice illustration of that was when all the debates, shall I put it, about Sekiro were kicking off last year. And in amongst that, there was a gamer who tweeted that accessibility ruins developers' visions for their games. This chap had an avatar that was Kratos, who's the protagonist of the God of War games. And Cory Barlog, who is the director of the God of War games, saw that person's tweet, and he replied saying that accessibility has never and will never harm my creative vision, or words to that effect. And then Rami Ishmael of Lambia, he saw that tweet, copy and pasted it word for word, said the same thing himself.
Wow.
Then loads of other developers joined in and did the same. And there's just hundreds of developers. It's basically like I'm Spartacus, where all the other slaves like I'm Spartacus. It was like an I'm Spartacus moment. And that really, really, for me, I think of anything the whole year, that's what gave me the most hope and the biggest sign that things are really changing, Just that there's such a huge swathe of developers all jumping in feet first and saying, no, this is something that's important to us,
Absolutely. And, it kind of reminds me of like even in the tech world with assistive and adaptive technologies with that, once people get on board and really put these features into different type of innovations out there, they see that not only do the disabled community love these things, but other people who are not disabled. So you have the aging and adult population, somebody whose coordination is not that good, who doesn't have a disability. They love using these features too. So you open up this big tent to everyone out there who can experience these things. And not only we know the social aspects of gaming, Ian, and what it means for us, but then you have these other ones who are now being able to experience the same thing that we wanted to experience a long time ago, and it just opens up this big tent for everyone. So I love it when people embrace it. And Ian,
well, I think that's something nice from the past year as well.
Yeah.
Was a follow up to some data that David Tisserand of Ubisoft shared the previous year. So it's that exact thing, like curb cut effect, that considering accessibility can benefit very, very wide audiences. So yeah, permanent physical impairment, temporary impairment, like a broken arm, situational, like you're holding a beer, different preferences. And this data was about subtitling. So on Assassin's Creed Origins, they put a lot of work into the presentation of their subtitle system. And they tracked the usage data and looked at how many players were actually choosing to turn subtitles on. And the figure was just over 60%. So because the majority of their players were choosing to turn subtitles on, for the next game, Assassin's Creed Odyssey, they decided that they were going to have subtitles on by default and then track how many players turned them off. And 95% of their players left them turned on. They then did the same thing with Far Cry New Dawn, and 97% of their players left them turned on. So 97% of their players are playing with an accessibility feature enabled. So the reason he shared that data was because obviously that's a strong case for why developers across the whole industry need to be thinking carefully about how they present the subtitles and doing a good job of that accessibility feature.
Absolutely. And Ian, so we talked about what encourages you. Now, what scares you the most, or doesn't give you the most optimism out there when it comes to accessibility in gaming? If there's anything out there, or concerns that you may have out there?
I don't know, not too much. I generally try to be optimistic about things. I guess just the unknown. I mean, some of the things that get people down, like reactions from the general gaming community to things like Sekiro and stuff. like I said, if you just look at the bigger picture, look at how things have progressed over the years, it's really not that big a deal to be worried about. All that happens is every now and then a ever shrinking number of people put their hands up and say, hello, we don't understand accessibility yet, please educate us. That's not the exact words they use, but that's effectively what the score is. So that kind of stuff doesn't really worry too much. It's just the unknowns, just like when new technology comes along. It's the same in any industry that people are understandably excited by the new technology, the new toy, the new shiny, and forget about all the good practices that they've already learned in the past. So I guess that it's not an entirely negative thing, just means there's new challenges, new opportunities, and I get bored easily. I like the fact that it's a fast-moving industry with lots of new, exciting things to take on all the time. So yeah, I think that'd be as close as we get. But I think in the games industry is being increasingly good about this kind of stuff. So with the uptake of VR over the past few years, compared to, for example, when touchscreens first came along, compared to when motion controls first came along, the interest and enthusiasm for exploring accessibility in VR has been much, much greater than when those other things came along. So I'm still reasonably confident that when the next unexpected big thing does drop, that people are in a good place to be able to think about accessibility from the early stages of it, which is where you see the good stuff happening.
Awesome. And Ian, is there anything else out there that we should kind of be aware about when it comes to the state of the accessibility in gaming, and just things that we can do to help further the cause out there?
All kinds of exciting stuff happening in the past year. In particular, what's been really nice to see is actually outside the games themselves, but accessibility of gaming events. So seeing events like E3 and Gamescom. Companies like Crystal Dynamics, Microsoft, EA, Ubisoft, Oculus, loads of companies actually finally thinking about accessibility of their booths, accessibility of their presentations, doing things like live captioning and sign language and audio description, variable height tables, having adaptive controllers on booths, all kinds of nice stuff that people were doing. So that was really, really lovely to see. Especially as that is a lot of people's first experiences with your game is at an event like that. So you want to be making a good first impression, right?
Yeah.
But yes, that's been really nice to see. Something really cool has been Stadia. So Google Stadia announced that they are developing a set of accessibility, not guidelines, but accessibility standards that every game released on Stadia is going to have to meet, which is really big. And none of the other platforms have really had the gumption to go for something like that before, so that's going to be interesting to see how that pans out. And the flip side of that is that actually on the store itself, every game that's released on Stadia has an area of its store listing dedicated specifically to listing a whole bunch of accessibility functionality within the game. So hopeful that will be something that can spread, because it's something that really, really needs to happen. I mean, Steam does a bit. Steam will let you filter to just show games that have captioning. But if you had those similar options, that gamers can easily find games that were colorblind friendly, that had remapping, all that kind of stuff. That would be really, really cool.
I love it. And Ian, you touched on something I want to just touch on before I let you go. Is that I think sometimes in this business, especially accessibility consulting, I think sometimes we overthink things, and you don't. But sometimes we worry about what the gaming community, how they may feel about certain accessibility features. My thing is that I don't care what they think. I care what we think, who are part of the disabled and accessibility gaming community, because they don't have to look at these features. So, and I know sometimes people are like, well, what about the other gamers, who are not disabled? They're going to have a problem with it. I'm like, I really don't care about that. Am I thinking the wrong way with that, Ian, or should I soften up a little bit?
Well, if they have a problem, then that's their problem, isn't it? But yeah, like I said, the number of people who have that kind of mindset, often it's just because people haven't really thought about the issue enough, or that they just don't have. Well, look, your opinions can only be as good as the information you've got to base the opinions not on, right? So I find that more often than not, if you can actually give people a bit better information, then they do eventually come around. I mean, it may take a little while to talk them down from their internet grandstanding and righteous rage that goes along with that, but once people do, you can have some good conversations and bring people around, and people become allies then, And that's what's really, really different now compared to like going back 7-8 years ago, when if someone was talking about an accessibility issue that they were facing, like on the forums for a game, they would be met with all kinds of vitriol. Whereas now, somebody doing the same is met by a load of support from their fellow gamers, and that creates a more welcoming community that people feel more comfortable to engage in. You know, so I think it's worth trying to bring people around and getting more people on side, as they should be. More people able to enjoy the same thing as you should be something that people are excited about, right?
Amen to that, my friend. Amen to that. Sir Ian Hamilton, how can people find out more information about you, my friend? They can follow you and get caught up on some great things that you talk about.
Yep, Twitter, that's the best place. Just at Ian Hamilton _ on Twitter. And my DMs are open if you want to chat as well.
Awesome. Ian, always great to catch up with you, my friend. Did we cover everything and all the greatness out there with accessibility they gave me? Or is there anything else we need to chat about, or did we cover everything, my friend?
Yep, I think we're good for now. Well, we could be chatting all day, to be fair, but let's save it for next time.
Sounds good. And hey, sorry I'm not going to see you at GDC in a few weeks. Sorry I didn't see you at CSUN. But hey, I'm glad we were able to connect virtually and everything. I look forward to our next chat, my friend.
Yep, good stuff. Speak to you now.
Always love talking with my buddy, Sir Ian Hamilton. One of the great guys in this industry, and his insight is always pristine. All right, well, that's the end of our show. Please stay safe. And remember, listen to the health experts, not people who play them on TV. It's our lives. It's our families' lives. It ain't time to play games. That's all I'm saying. All right, until next time, folks, take care. Always reach out to me. Website, paulamadeouslane.com. Go there. It shows you how to connect with me on the Twitter, Facebook, IG, LinkedIn, all the other formats out there. If you have any questions about technology, or maybe a story I haven't been able to look at, how technology is helping us out in everyday life, please go to the website, Paul Amadeus Lane, and reach out to us, okay? Take care, folks. We'll talk to you soon, and please stay safe.
In this world of technology, things are ever changing, rearranging. You need someone to help you out. I know someone who can. Come and take a journey with me as we go through the land of technology. You'll never be alone. You'll be with Paul Amadeus Lane in the tech zone.